Hello and welcome to another video. Today with the day 3 endgame update for my Blackflame Fireball Bloodmage starter build for PoE2 2. At this point I'm absolutely destroying everything that is thrown at me in maps. The damage is exquisite. I have only 2 ascendancy points because I was too lazy to get the other 2s, and I'm still absolutely obliterating everything that's thrown at me. We now also rock Ember Fussilade as a single target enhancer, so a sub skill, as well as additional projectile shards on our weapon, which allows us to drop projectile nova. Initially, I was using a two-handed staff with the new crafting option as a suffix on it, but later on I decided to switch to a wand and shield playstyle because it's giving you a superior stat distribution through additional affixes. And the best part about this, all of it can be achieved without super expensive uniques. That's right, we are not using SNAKEPIT or RATH here. Later on I am planning to switch to a Bloodmancer helmet, but for now we can rock everything without it. It is very budget friendly. But enough about that. Those geese never stood a chance against our purple flames. So let's have a look at the juice. Don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's have a look at the planner. It has been fully updated for the early, mid and end game, featuring no expensive uniques. This means no RATH, no SNAKEPIT, and potentially even Seed of Cataclysm can be completely skipped. You don't need it. It increases the mana cost of your skills anyway, so it's not all too good. However, the spell crit damage bonus as well as crit hit chance to spells is really nice, especially early on when you have not too much in that bucket. Now, if you're interested in Act 1, 2, 3 and 4, those are covered in a separate video, so this one won't be too long. For the early maps, you have an explanation of what is going on. We are now going to use Nova projectiles for clearing. This will be also sufficient for mapping and bosses, so you don't actually need the Sire of Shards, which was quite expensive when I started. And you get the additional damage benefits through levels to skill gems and more stats. The basic rotation currently, if you have Sigil of Power, which is found only on staffs, you're going to cast it, then despair the target, 2 times Living Bomb, Chaos Bolt and Fireball, and then repeat with Living Bomb and Fireball spam. Chaos Bolt is here with a Withering Touch, Prolonged Duration and Unleash support, so you can always cap Wither on high priority targets very easily. As mentioned before, Sigil of Power is only found on the staff. It's an inert skill, grants the skill Sigil of Power on the staff I had at the time. If you don't have it, don't sweat it. The skill tree looks like this, but it will change considerably throughout the progression. The more points we have, the more we can optimize the pathing. Also something you need to know, Mana Tempest is not something you want to use on this build, because even if you have the quality for this one, 2 seconds after you leave Tempest, you still benefit from Tempest. This is not good. You're going to be drained HP and mana. So it's basically a dot and you are going to die with this one. Not a good fit for the build at all. Other than that, very straightforward. We have Spirit here. You can find percentage maximum life. You can find spell levels +2 as well as projectile levels +2. If you combine this one with Spirit, this one can get very expensive. So you can skip it for now if you have sufficient levels on your weapon anyway. Other than that, the build is very straightforward. You just want as much resistances and life as possible to cap everything so you can go mapping. There is one caveat. You need a Wicked Quill. This one has a 25% chance to inflict Withered on hit. On our second weapon swap, we have the Chaos Bolt spell. Chaos Bolt provides us with 2 Withered on a target hit, and with a little bit of extra oomph through our Withering Presence, we can cap Wither very fast. This makes enemies take additional damage. It's a more multiplier, and on bosses this will help the DPS very much. At the end of Act 4, you're going to find yourself being in need of Ember Fussilade for very fast targets. There is some bosses that are very hard without having something to track them. So Ember Fussilade will be a really good addition to the build. Helps you out as a sub DPS spell, because we are going to weave in Ember Fussilades and Fireball spells as well as Living Bomb in between bosses, so we can nuke them much faster. You will see the damage is extremely good. Once we have a little bit of oomph on our gear, we can start socketing in Chaos Resistance in our gear. If we don't have enough elemental resistance, cap it through the runes. On our gloves, however, we are going to use Fenumus Rune of Draining. This will give you 20% withering efficiency or magnitude. I think it's magnitude. You can also find this on the tree right here. So we make this one a little bit bigger. Wither away. 10% here, 10% here. So it's 40% in this cluster. With the gloves, that's 60%. Let me move myself to the right. And this will end up with Chaos Bolt applying a 60% more damage multiplier to bosses. Just insane. Really, really good. In combination with Despair, they have basically 0 resistance and a more damage multiplier on them with Chaos Bolt or Wither. Now, what you can now do is to add something really nifty to your staff. This staff only has a requirement of level 16 because it's currently buggy and not showing the right staff that I had equipped at this point in time. If you find an item level 65 staff, I'm speaking about the item level of the item, 65. Why is that? Because when we look at staffs in their modifier tab at PoE2 DB and scroll down to the new desecrated modifiers, you will find chance for spells to fire 2 additional projectiles. This is a modifier only found on staffs with the Ulaman modifier. It can go up to 35%, which is really, really good. So you now have 2 free runes on your weapon. So if you find a staff with 3 prefixes and 2 open suffixes, you can basically guarantee that this one is going to be the modifier presented to you. Ulaman. There's only 2 modifiers. So it's guaranteed that those 2 will show up and you can pick it and have it on your staff. Guaranteed, 100%. Now, how do you guarantee this one on your weapon? There is an omen, which is called the Omen of the Sovereign, that guarantees this to be effective. You just have to right click it in your inventory and then apply the veil on top of your staff. This will make it so you can grab a staff with those modifications very early on, and it's not going to be expensive at all. So you can actually skip for now the wand focus swap with the Thane-Girth rune of Wildness, because this one has the same effect just with 25%. But once you have the budget, you can buy this one. This one costs 35 chaos, quite expensive. So a staff is the budget option here, and you will still be able to blast and farm currency very efficiently. You want to save that budget because you want to pick up a perfect jeweler next to fix your mana issues. Currently, those will be quite heavy. Once you have the perfect jeweler, you can just add efficiency to your spell to reduce its cost by 40%. This reduces the health cost as well as the mana cost. So this one is really, really good for this build. We also use this one for Despair, but not for Ember Fussilade. For this one, we will only use Fire Mastery and more damage boosting abilities because it's a sub DPS spell. You want to spam this one, then shoot your fireballs in between and apply your living bombs in between. So this one stacks, all of them explode, you deal a ton of damage. You will probably also ask what Sion's Temper is. This one is basically the upgrade to wild shards. With the added chance for projectiles, we now have 50% from the tree, 25 to 35% on your staff, 10% through quality on your gem on fireball, and now you can just rock Sion's Temper instead of wild shard support. Sion's Temper is just the one that's the upgrade. It has to drop. You cannot use an uncut gem for this one, but you can buy it at the merchant from other players. I mean, costs only like 4 chaos or 4 exalt. It's very, very cheap, and you can throw it on your build. You can only use it in one skill. It's basically a unique, and this will boost your damage considerably because we don't have the penalty from Nova projectiles anymore, and we can now target everything much more clearly. Your next priority is going to be to find a really good amulet. Now this one doesn't have any life. This one only has for me a 43 spirit application, which is just one shy of being able to use another aura for 30. I am at 29 spirit with the quality on blasphemy, because for blasphemy we are going to slot in temporal chains, magnified area, and ritualistic curse. So everything that enters our vicinity is slowed. This is not as relevant in the early maps, but in the later maps when you're getting swamped by very fast enemies and you're going to boost the action speed of enemies through modifiers on your waystones, this is going to get spicy and you want that additional layer of defense so enemies don't get to touch you. If enemies don't touch you, they cannot deal damage to you, and so you can basically neglect your other defenses a little bit. It's preventive measures instead of getting, well, enemies hitting you. At this point, your rotation for bosses is going to look quite different than what it was in the early game. You're going to apply Despair, apply Chaos Bolt, spam Ember Fussilade, apply Living Bomb, and then shoot out fireballs. And this rotation, why? Because once you have your Living Bomb on the target and Ember Fussilade hits it, it's going to be exploding this Living Bomb, giving you additional fire infusions, which you can use for a fireball. If you use your fireball first, this one is going to only tickle the enemy. So you want to go from bottom up to the fireball. So it's Spare, Chaos Bolt, Ember Fussilade, Living Bomb, and then fireball. This will not change for bosses anymore. During regular gameplay, you just Living Bomb and fireball in repeat, and sometimes you want Ember Fussilade, for example, enemies run at you with those mana draining aura. You want to keep at bay and you want to spam your Ember Fussilade so that they are not running into you. You can run away and the projectiles will shoot them and destroy them. Once we get to the end game, we want to swap to a wand and focus setup, and we also need to make sure that we have the Fenumus Rune of Draining in our gloves. This one is 20% wither magnitude, so 10% additional damage on the wither. We also want Thane-Griff's Rune of Wilderness, which is 25% chance to shoot out 2 additional projectiles. It's lower than the two-handed staff, however, that's enough. With enough quality, we are still at 85% for Fireball and 75% for Ember Fussilade, which is really good. We can get levels of all spells to skills, as well as on the focus, and we can get crit chance, we can get spell damage, chaos damage, we can get extra cold, fire, lightning damage, we can get cast speed, so a ton of additional stats that we would not be able to get on the two-handed staff. Two-handed staff doesn't have as many open affixes, so naturally this setup is better. Those items are extremely expensive, right? Well, you can buy a very cheap wand, like for example this one didn't have the spell skill levels. Same for the focus. I paid like 10 chaos for both of them, bought the perfect essence of sorcery, and then hit it. Since this one is a suffix, it will take one of the suffixes, so you can buy an item with prefixes that are really good, like for example chaos damage and spell damage, and then hope for the best. For this one I already had critical hit chance for spells on it and replaced a fire resistance modifier with the spell skills. For the wand I replaced, sadly, critical hit damage. It's still a massive improvement to the build. Once you get to this stage, you really want to have your mana efficiency ready. So efficiency really good on this one. For an Annoints, Hasting Barrier is very easy to pick up. Its 15% cast speed improves the feeling of the build massively. At this point, our build is going to change the skill tree slightly. We are going to path not for here, but for here. We have picked up Whispers of Doom. We picked up the crit strike chance here. Another jewel slot here. And we want to have a heart in here with 10%, around 10% of leech is going to apply instantly to your life. On the screen, you will see the heart in action, or a screenshot of the heart, so you know what the modifiers are. Currently, there is no way for me to show you in the mobility explainer because this one is not implemented, but it's very nice for the build to feel better. You get maximum resistances, so that's a massive boost to your defenses, and you get potentially additional stats like crit damage and crit strike chance, or extra damage. Those are quite expensive, but if you focus on just the +1 to maximum resistances and life leech, that's pretty good. You can also grab something like mana efficiency on this one. So that's also cost efficiency, which is a really nice source for that. At this point, you should be around 85. To improve the build further, you can travel down here, grab the chaos resistance nodes here, here, and here, and here. 5% of damage as extra chaos damage and reduced withering effect, which is really nice for the abyss enemies. Those apply this one quite considerably on you. And you can path down here for additional crit damage bonus, which is 15% here and 60% here. reduced crit strike chance is not going to really matter to us anymore because we are basically crit capped anyway. Alternatively, if you're still struggling with mana cost, you can pick up the conservative casting here, 15%, 8 and 8. So that's a really nice cluster. Or if you want to improve your mobility a little bit, you can path down here and pick up 3% movement speed here with a little bit of projectile speed and projectile damage. I don't recommend this one, but you can. There is also a little bit of cast speed here that we do not pick up because we don't path through here, but that's also an option. Now for a really good annoyance, there is 2 options. The first one is down here, 10% cast speed and 13% chaos resistance, spiral into mania. And the other one is anticipation for unleash to increase the generation of seals. Both of them are really going to improve the feel of the build, but I personally would prefer the spiral into mania. The cast speed and chaos resistance is really nice for the build. Anyway, if you like this video, please leave a like, please leave a comment if you have any questions, and subscribe if you have not already. So see you next time. Bye.